Jared, we heard that you talked to receivers during the game against UNLV last week after a couple of their drops to try to pump that unit up. In a game like this where you guys scored 3 points in, I think, the first 55 minutes, what do you say between drives to these guys to try to get them going offensively?
I think ultimately it just comes down to, as we talk about each and every game, we got to get our first down. And in Big Ten play, with a game that, there's only a few turnovers, we got to capitalize on the ones that we do have as an offense. And that starts with me, with the center, getting the ball to the quarterback, getting us in the right plays, and ultimately just capitalizing on those drives when we do have great field position. And we just have to execute, honestly, and that starts with the offensive line. And it permeates to everyone else. But, we don't look at it as, oh, we only scored 3 points, we're a terrible offense. We look at it as we left some points out there, and we have to execute better down the stretch and in the red zone so that we can set ourselves up to be successful throughout the entirety of games.
When Hunter comes out of the game, not due to injury, in a 21-point game with 15 minutes left, what does that say to you guys as a team?
Like I've said, it really doesn't matter who's back there. Our job as an offensive line is to block for the run and the pass. So, the coaches are going to put who they feel is best, and, we just got to go do our job.
Can you just talk about a little bit what happened on the 3 plays from the 1-yard line down there? And do you think that was a turning point in the game, and how do you think you guys can improve on that moving forward?
I think we just got to execute better. As offensive line, we got to get it in there. Period, end story.
I was going to ask exactly the same thing. Was there any surprise with the 4th down call, with the option that hadn't been called yet this season?
No surprises there. We were prepared for everything we saw today, every front that they had, everything that they did. It ultimately just comes down to execution. Guys winning their one-on-one matchups, starting up front. We got to move the line of scrimmage, especially in goal line situations. We talked about earlier in the week, Coach Anderson said he had a sneaky suspicion, there was going to be a pivotal time for us to execute on the goal line, and that time came for us and we didn't. So we got to get back to the drawing board and do better next time.
Big picture, why is Michigan State's deep rush defense now?
Great defense. A lot of credit to those guys. They came in to our home field and executed, and we didn't. Like I said earlier this week, they have a lot of guys that have been there a long time, so they have a lot of game experience together. But at the end of the day, us as an offense, we got to do better, and we're going to do better. And that just starts with grinding a little harder, getting in a little more film, getting in a little more this and that. So ultimately, we feel better and don't have this feeling coming off the field next week.
Another slow September. Both Joe Gaziano and Fitz have said that it's different every year. But how do you motivate your teammates? How do you talk to these guys in the week of practice leading up to the Wisconsin game, knowing that you guys have gotten off to another slow start, even if it's for different reasons than in previous years?
I think they say it's different every year because in this game you got to have a short memory. You can't think about what happened in the past. You got to really just focus on the game in that moment, that practice, that film session, that meeting, whatever it is. You start looking ahead or looking behind. That's when things start flying past you as soon as you're present in that moment. So honestly, we just got to stay present in everything that we do, and that starts with getting our treatment tonight and tomorrow, getting ready for a great week of preparation, and giving the Badgers our best shot.
Is that tougher for younger guys though, who are newer to college football? And if so, how do you help them with that?
When you sign the national letter of intent to come play college football in the Big Ten, that's what you sign up for. And you just got to learn that on the fly, whether you're used to it or you're not. As soon as you step out there and you get your nose bloody for the first time, you just got to understand that, sometimes you get them, sometimes you don't. But as long as you get yours more than you get got, I think you'll be okay. So as long as we have a short memory loss, I think we'll be fine.
You were probably the bright spot today. Are you able to separate a tough team day with a good performance by you? How do you look at that?
Not at all. I don't really see that as a good day for myself. It's unfortunate that it took me so long to get going, but the O-line, I still think they had a good game. I just have to win those one-on-one matchups early in the game.
Drake Anderson. I'm Drake. Sorry. You talked about we just talked with Jared about that short memory
Right,
thing.
right.
And for you, is that where you have to put your own performance away and your own rushing yards down the stretch away, along with the team's performance? It's just all got to be in the rearview mirror.
Just everything together. Short, like you said, we got to flush it, get back in the lab. Obviously, it was nice to have a couple nice runs after the game. That's good for the confidence. But ultimately, we're just going to flush it and worry about Wisconsin.
Drake, compared to last year, and I know there's a huge difference from year 1 to year 2, you seem to be seeing the field a lot bigger and a lot slower, and it's evidenced by some of your big runs. What is the difference between last year and the early start to this year that you've had?
Just that year, that redshirt year, allowed me to get in the weight room and in the playbook a lot more, and just getting these more opportunities it's starting to slow the game down for me.
We all hear a lot about how good Michigan State's run defense is, best in the country, all that. But what's it like to actually go out and face them in person? What's it like on the field?
They're impressive. They played a hell of a game. Like I said earlier, I think the O-line had a good game, but I just have to capitalize on those one-on-one situations.